Namaste. Today, all the way from Nepal, we're going to talk about the three key areas to focus on if you want to grow a thriving sleep consulting business. And these areas are focused on the Sleep Consultant Playbook. So if you don't have it yet, grab a copy. And before I'm going to dive into those three key areas, I want to talk about something that I wish I'd known when I started my first business. Because honestly, it's a roller coaster ride, right? And this makes a lot of sense once you understand the emotional cycle of change. So I would love to dive into that. I have some visuals and I'm going to read some parts out of the book. And this is it, the emotional cycle of change. This is a pattern path that all of us are going through, and still we are surprised. Why does this happen to me? Trust me, we all go through all these different steps. So let me show you the first step, and that is the uninformed optimism. This is stage one, the honeymoon phase. I'm reading from the Sleep Consultant Playbook now. Everything feels fresh, exciting, and full of possibility. You've got big dreams, endless motivation, and a sense that nothing can stop you. You remember this phase? Or maybe you're in this right now. You do the math. 5 clients a month? Totally doable. I've got this. So, fueled by enthusiasm, you dive in headfirst with big ideas and even bigger dreams. And this optimism is powerful. It is what gives you the courage to take the first step to get that certification. And you don't know yet what challenges lie ahead. And that's okay, because this stage is about momentum. So ride the wave while it lasts. Then we're moving on to stage two. As you can see, we're going already a little bit lower into the valley. Stage two is informed pessimism. And then reality hits. You realize there is way more to this than you initially thought. Finding clients takes way much longer than expected. Standing out feels overwhelming, and that simple side hustle, it starts to feel like climbing Mount Everest. And then the self-doubt creeps in. Do I really know enough about baby sleep? What if a parent asks me something I wasn't trained on? Should I take another course before I start? And you know what? Social media doesn't help. You see other sleep consultants sharing different approaches, and then you think, wait, am I doing this wrong? And suddenly you're second guessing everything. Now, here's the truth. You don't need to know everything to start helping families. They're not hiring you for your encyclopedic knowledge. I mean, they can go on ChatGPT if they need to, right? They're hiring you because you can listen, empathize, and can guide them with the tools that you already have. And then we're gonna come in stage three. This is a rough one. It's the valley of despair because suddenly nothing seems to be working. This is the hardest part of the journey. You've been showing up, putting in the work, but the results, they're just not there yet. Frustration builds, your doubt gets louder. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I should just quit. And this is the phase where most people actually quit. As you can see at the arrow, there are two ways. Either way, people push through and they get to stage 4 and 5, or they start all over again. Um, so when the valley comes, and it will, sorry, remember this, it's temporary. Growth is happening beneath the surface, even if you can't see it yet. So when fear and doubt show up, name them. Oh, I'm just scared of, or I'm just doubting that. Acknowledge the discomfort, but don't let it stop you. Keep taking action, trust the process, lean into your support system, and keep moving forward. Because on the other side is the success you're working so hard to achieve. And what's happening a lot of times, it feels hard. You see another certification or a program or an opportunity to create some money, and you start all over at phase one. You do the certification, you don't know what challenges are laying ahead of you. And then you come back in stage two and then in stage three, and you're again stuck. So I want you to build the trust that you can get through this and that this is just a part, I know it's so hard, a part of the process. So, because when you come in stage 4, it's informed optimism. The clouds start finally to clear. You see the first signs of progress. Maybe it's a client booking, it's a nice testimonial, or simply feeling more at ease in your business. Things start clicking, the work still feels challenging, but now it feels that it has purpose. Your confidence starts to grow, and the doubt that once held you back, it is quieter now. You realize that success isn't about never feeling uncertainty. It's about learning to move forward despite uncertainty. And then we're in that was stage 4, stage 5. Stage 5 is success and fulfillment. Yes, this is the moment you've been working toward. You've put in the work, stayed consistent, and now it's paying off. Clients are reaching out, your business feels stable, and you finally think, I did this. There's a deep sense of pride in what you've built, and you're excited about what's next. The people who are making it here aren't the ones who had it all figured out from the beginning. They're the ones who kept going even when it felt hard. And they are the ones then ready to take on the next challenge because stage 5 is not the end. With any other next project, idea, starting a podcast, building a course, you start all the way from stage 1 again. But now you know what it feels in stage 3. So you don't give up, you push through, and you'll easier get to stage 4 and start and stage 5. So because you know that self-doubt and struggle don't mean you're failing, they mean that you're growing. So my question to you is, which stage are you in right now? Did you recognize yourself in one of the stages that I was sharing? Now, if you're in stage 1, congratulations, welcome. You know what's ahead of you right now. And if you're in stage 4 or stage 5, congratulations, because it is not easy to push through the valley of despair and to pick yourself back up, keep going, even though you don't see what's building underneath the surface, and then end up in stage 4 or stage 5. Now, if you're in stage 3, it's hard, trust me. I remember that exactly when I built my first business. But I want you to remember that every successful sleep consultant that you're looking up to, that you see on Instagram, on TikTok, on the news or whatever, has been in stage 3. And what makes them different from the ones who don't succeed, they push through because they knew their why. They knew what they were doing this for. So don't start from scratch. Keep pushing if you're in stage 3. Now, here's the thing that I want to get very clear because I get often messages from sleep consultants who are saying, yeah, but I spend 20 hours per week on my business and I still don't have paying clients. Remember this, success doesn't go to the person who puts in the most hours. Success goes to the person who understands one thing, and that is the basics of business, the foundation. And this person takes the right action, the aligned actions. And in today's masterclass, I want to show you what that looks like. What are you working towards? What do you have to build? What do you actually have to focus on to build that thriving sleep consulting business? Now, there are 3 key areas to focus on if you want to build a thriving sleep consulting business. And those are the following: marketing, sales, and fulfillment. Now, let's dive a little bit deeper. Marketing is talking about your stuff to the people you know, to people you don't know, to people on social media, writing your blogs, workshops, paid advertisements. Because if no one knows about your stuff, no one can buy it, right? Then the second area is sales. With sales, you need to tell those people that you're talking to buy your stuff. So you need to convert interested people into your world into paying clients. Otherwise, you don't have a business. Then it's just a hobby, of course, right? So if you don't tell people that they can buy it, they will not buy it. Our mind is lazy. We do what we are being told to do, and then we make a decision. But if you're not telling us that there is something that we can look at, something that we can purchase, nobody is going to take that initiative. Or nobody is going to even think that there is something to buy. And then the last one is fulfillment. And this is the stage when you give them what you promised. So you tell them about your stuff, then you tell them to buy your stuff, and then you give them what they paid for. If you don't give them what they bought, or it's not what they expected, well, you're not going to be long in business. So it sounds pretty basic, right? Just stick with me because I'm going to show you how your business progresses in these 3 areas over the coming months and years as a sleep consultant. Now, a little tip, because most people think that that if you put more time and effort into marketing, you get automatically more clients. This is not true. More clients come often and easier from better fulfillment. So the moment you have a client, don't be busy focusing on the next. Of course, you want to keep going there, but your focus should be to serve this client the best you can, exceed expectations, over deliver, especially in the beginning. Make sure to blow them away, because through them, you're either going to have a direct referral, a testimonial that can give you a new client, a success story that you can share. And so this is very essential, because the fulfillment phase, where you blow away your client, where you create raving fans, this is going to have effect backwards on sales and marketing. Now, of course, don't neglect marketing and sales. They are very important as well. But be very mindful of this part, of this last part, to collect those testimonials, to ask them for a referral, because this part of the business is so much easier than to start all over from scratch for marketing again with people who you need to build your trust and liking and knowing with. I want to make this very practical. I want you to grab a piece of paper and a pen and do the following. Draw these two lines. And you can put the video on pause if you don't have a pen and paper yet. And I'm going to move on. And then on top of the paper, write down marketing, sales, and fulfillment. Those are the three key areas that you need to be focusing on. Now, what I want you to do in the first area of marketing, and I wrote a little question to keep you focused on what is marketing. That is telling people about your stuff. I want you to write down, draw some boxes, and then write down what you currently do in this area of your business. And also write down what you like to do or what you think you should be doing in this area. So I suggest pause this video and start writing that down. Okay, here are some suggestions from my side, but also think about blogs, podcasts, social media, listings and directories, networking, and one very important one, if you didn't write it down on your list, your Google business profile. This is one, I recommend it in my book as well, one of the first things you want to have set up. Write it down in your marketing section, put a big exclamation mark for it. If you don't have done it yet, go focus on that. And you can find things on my Instagram account about this, or send me a DM. Now, the next one is sales. Again, draw some boxes. And then in those boxes, write down what you're currently doing for sales. So your sleep assessment calls, probably, or your discovery calls. Then also write things down that you would love to do, or that you think that you need to be doing, or what you should be doing. Write all of those down under sales. Pause the video so you have a moment to think about that before I'm going to give you the examples. Okay, so here are some ideas for sales. If there's one that you didn't write down yet, you can add them to your list. And then we're going to move on to the third one, and that is fulfillment. So again, same, write down what you're doing already, what you think you should be doing. Drop down all the ideas in fulfillment. And then here are some examples, maybe some things that you didn't think about yet that you could write down if that feels aligned. This is something very important to me. We're building an aligned business. This sleep consultant playbook as well, I've written it in a way that at the end, nobody has a copy-paste product of one type of business. Everybody has it in a way that is aligned with them. And that is why this first chapter of the book is about building that alignment framework. What is important to you? What are non-negotiable? So very essential. So fulfillment. Okay, now what I want you to do is grab 3 different colored pencils. If you have red, yellow, and green would be best, because it gives the most clarity. If you have something else, it's totally fine. And then what I want you to do is the following. We're going to start in the marketing column, and you're going to look at all the things that you are already doing right now for this section. So something that you do regularly, something that you feel confident about, something that feels like it's set in place. You color those green. Then I want you to color those that you don't do yet and haven't even done yet red. And then the orange ones are the ones that you do sometimes, but there's not really yet something in place. And it's a little bit messy, but there is some work that has been done already. And so then it's going to start looking something like this. And I want you to do the same for sales and fulfillment. So color those green that you're currently doing, orange sometimes doing, not regularly, and red not doing at all yet. And then you get something like this. And what you have now in your hands, grab it. This is a 90-day plan. This, you know now exactly what's missing, what needs to be worked on, and you have a plan for the coming 90 days. Because if you each week pick an orange or a red block to work on, start implementing that, you start building that business that you want, right? But there's one thing, and that's what I want to talk about next. Because I want you to understand what to actually focus on. Because this is really depending on the phase where your business is right now. Because I don't want you to pick from the fulfillment section building a course while you didn't have any paying clients yet. There is an order in everything. And this is what I help sleep consultants do. This is exactly written in the sleep consultant playbook, step by step. The 5 levels to guide you through to build a successful business. Because the key to everything you want, freedom, growth, income, impact, long term success, is to turn your business into a machine. That is the end goal. That's what we want to reach. So you can minimize your one-on-one consultation calls. You can build extra income streams. This is building a business. But this doesn't come from day one. This is a process. And that's the process I want to show you right now. So the first phase in this process, you see here, marketing, sales, fulfillment. These are the key areas of your business. The first phase is when you didn't have 5 paying clients yet. So if you're in this phase, you should only focus on what I explained here and nothing else what comes after. I want you to write it down. I want you to be aware of what's coming after. But right now, your only focus should be on this. And this is also what I want on your paper that you circle and don't do anything else. And that is the following. For marketing, I want you to only focus on personal outreach. Why personal outreach? I want you to reach out to connections that you know already. Because this is warm outreach. People who know, like, and trust you are going to be so much more likely to refer a friend or to. Normally, when I say personal outreach, I don't mean asking your friend, hey, do you need sleep support? I always explain what I'm doing and then ask them if they know somebody who could be interested in it. So this is a key difference because now they can play the hero and maybe they're like, no, actually, I need support. And so it's a way much easier way to ask for referrals and for potential clients. So personal outreach is the only thing you should be focusing on. Don't start a social media account. Don't start blogging. Don't start all these other things because this is cold outreach and it takes like 7 touch points, they say, before people trust you and are willing to buy something from you. So imagine how much time that's going to cost you. Next, what you do then is for the sales, you only focus on sleep assessment calls, nothing else. You're not going to build any funnels. You're not going to focus on your website. You get them from a personal outreach. You send them a DM. You ask them to book a call with you with your calendar link. Don't send them to a website. Big chance you're going to lose them. Don't send them through a funnel. Big chance you're going to lose them. And what you want here is to build as quick as possible confidence, and confidence comes from working with clients. Now, and then next is fulfillment, and that is your one-on-one sleep support package for 2 or 3 weeks, depending on what you're wanting. Nothing else. No shortcuts, no only sleep plans, no mini supports, nothing else. Why? Because you need to get your practice in. You need to get the experience. You need to understand the language. You need to understand the whole concept of the problems that are arising when you work with a toddler, when you work with a newborn, when you work with a 4-month-old baby. So you start only getting knowledge when you're working actually with clients. And I can tell you, working with a paid client is so different than working with your pro bono clients that you had to take on for your sleep assessment, for your sleep certification program. So really, those first 5 paying clients are so important for your business. And I don't want you to distract yourself with anything else. So if you're here, if you're in this phase, your only task is to get on calls, because the more calls you have, the higher of a chance to actually book a client. Because On average, the conversation rate for warm sales calls, so people who know, like, and trust you already, you hop on a call with them, is on average 20%. So imagine you need to schedule 5 calls and have 5 calls. A lot of people are ghosting or booming out. You need to have 5 calls and then maybe you have 1 client. Now I'm going to tell you the conversion rate for cold sales calls is 5%, which means that you need to have 20 calls booked and actually showing up and doing the 20 calls before you have 1 client. You see why I'm recommending to never start with social media? I even call it the social media trap in the book, because tapping into your network, it's challenging, it's hard, and it looks easier on social media, but it's not. So 80% of your time needs to be focused on personal outreach, the rest on the sales calls and the offer support, and nothing else. No distractions until you have your first 5 paying clients. I often have sleep consultants who come to me and they say, I did everything, but I have no clients. And then I'm asking, how many calls do you have scheduled for the coming week? And it's like, none. It's like, okay, then you're not going to have clients in the coming weeks. So you know what to do. You need to get calls. Okay, how are you going to get calls? Yeah, but I'm posting on social media. Yeah, cold outreach. So it takes 7 times as long. Don't start there. And especially if you didn't have your first 5 paying clients. Now, the other thing is, if you're in this phase, track everything. Write down how many people you reach out to. Write down how many calls you got from that and how many of those calls you converted into clients. I want you to never make any decisions based on emotions, always on data. So if you tell me I only have 2 calls scheduled for the week, I'm going to ask you, how many people have you reached out to? Only 10? But then it's kind of normal that you don't have that many calls. If you want to have more calls scheduled, you need to put in more work here on the marketing area. You know, if you're looking at your business and you're like, oh, okay, this doesn't work, I want you to show me first and show yourself that you've put in the work. You know, if you write down every day what you're doing for your business, and you do that consecutively, I cannot say that, for 30 days, and then look back in your notebook, and if there are days with white pages, you know you didn't put in the work. So if you don't put in the work, the outcome is not going to be there neither. You know, sometimes we think by seeing all this Instagram post and everybody is millionaires and 6 and 7 figure business that it's easy. It's not easy. Everybody, and I don't know, maybe half of them are not even successful. They're acting like they're successful, so you get to buy their stuff. And this is becoming a weird cycle that we're ending up in. Don't look outside, look at your data. Are you putting in the work? Then your results should show that. If you're not putting in the work, you're not going to have results, right? So if you're feeling stuck in this area, I would highly recommend you to buy the book. Um, because I explain everything in detail, step by step. So you can just have this on your desk. And then every day you spend an hour on your business and you just go to the next page and you know exactly what you need to be doing to build that thriving sleep consulting business. You can also send me a DM and ask me for my 5-day business booster program. I'm more than happy to share that with you. In this course, I'm helping you to identify your niche, helping you stand out as a sleep consultant. And yeah, it's a great course. So feel free to ask that. I just want to share some testimonials that I've received based on the sleep consultant playbook. It's just warms my heart to see all the great feedback, because here's a person that said, like, I hate reading, but I'm really enjoying this. And that's what I wanted to do with this book. It's not a boring business book. No, it's an actionable book. It has clear steps. This is also why it's not available as an ebook, because I wanted you to have it on your desk, write in it, make notes. I have people seeing with stickers and everything between it, so they can keep track of where they are, what they need to doing. And I want you also to look at it every day, and know that if you follow that, you can make your dreams come true. And also, it's building the confidence. And this is also why I wrote this book, because I really felt like I wanted to close the gap between you getting your certification and you having a profitable business, or at least a business with your first paying client. And this gap in between is for most sleep consultants so overwhelming, and especially if you've never started a business before, because it feels like you need to be on social media and on websites and you need to do this, 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 this. But in the end, it's very basic, exactly what I just explained. It's those three things to focus on: marketing, sales, and fulfillment. And you do that in a certain order. And I wanted to close this gap. So you have a clear strategy, clear map to what to know, what to do next. And what I actually really started doing, why I built this whole business, is that I just realized when I help sleep consultants, I can make such a bigger impact because I can help 10 clients myself, 10 families. But if I help 10 sleep consultants or 5 sleep consultants buy a book and they get like 3, 4 more clients in total, my impact is like 5x already. And that is so worth it to me. Okay, so we're going to move on to phase two. And this is the phase after your first 5 paying clients. And as you can see, it looks exactly the same. But this is the phase where we're going to systemize and start streamlining your business. And we want to move from warm outreach, so the people, the personal connections that you know, to also add cold outreach to it. So these are people who don't know you, don't like you yet, and don't trust you yet. Now, before I dive into this, I want to say you can do phase one even after 5 paying clients and keep doing that the rest for your life and build a very successful business out of that. So I'm not pushing anybody to go through the next steps, to build systems, to set everything in place. This is only if you want to have more automation in your business, if you want to have some new income sources, if you want to reduce your one-on-one calls, if you feel like you hit the one-on-one ceiling, that you had so many clients that you cannot take on more, so your business growth stops. This is phase two and phase three that I'm going to explain about. But seriously, if you work on your personal outreach, you make sure that you blow the people away, you get better and better at your sleep assessment calls, you can build a 6, 7 figure business by just sticking to phase one. Seriously. Okay, but phase two, for those who want to take it one step further, before building any courses, coaching programs, anything else, you want to put 2 bridges in place. So we keep doing exactly what we've been doing. And the first bridge that you want to build is your client onboarding system. Because if you start focusing on marketing and there are more clients coming in, but you don't have the right system in place, the whole business is going to collapse. You cannot um, perform in the fulfillment section as best as you can. So you stop blowing away your clients, you get less testimonials, less referrals, and then the business becomes so much harder. So the first bridge is the client onboarding system. So think about things like invoice, contract, onboarding email, welcome guide, onboarding pack, all these kind of things. You want to have that automated in the system. Now, if you're in this phase and you feel a bit overwhelmed, just send me a text and we can talk about this. But this is a system that you want to have in place, that you have minimum work from this part. So you can take on more clients and they just go through a system. Now, the second bridge that I want you to build, and that is a lead generation funnel. And this is to nurture and convert leads on automation. So you take them from marketing. For example, they opt in for a freebie, a lead magnet. Then they go to your landing page. They come in an email sequence where where you talk about your one-on-one sleep support, and then through that they book a call. So there you can see the bridge. You don't have to get them on a call anymore. This is what your lead generation funnel should be doing. Now, this is a lot of tweaking and experimenting to make this happen, because it's not just making a lead magnet. I try to be realistic. I'm sorry if I'm a downer, but it's not just making a lead magnet or a freebie and then boop, okay, it's going to convert. Just to stay realistic, conversion rate for cold emails is 2%, which means that if you want to have one call scheduled, you need to have at least 50 people who have not only read your email, not even opt in for your email, also opened your email and clicked on the booking link. So you see that it takes so much more time to turn to convert a potential lead into a client. So what I want you to do is here, keep going with your personal connection, personal outreach, and in the meantime, start tweaking your lead generation funnel so that slowly it can start replacing you here. But it is a lot of work to focus on both of those things. And this is why I keep repeating to everybody who keeps just only posting on social media and wonders why they haven't paying clients yet. It's because this is a challenging part. So focus first on your own network. Okay, Once you have those two bridges in place, then you can move on to phase three. And now we're going to build a machine that runs for you. And this phase, I would say, is after 15 paying clients. Better if it's even more, but at least 15 paying clients, because that's the moment. Only after that you can start thinking about scaling. And we're going to build a machine here that is something that works without you. It's almost fully on automation, and what I call this is your freedom engine. And your freedom engine looks different for everyone. Because if you think of it like this, if you have an engine, they all have the same basic parts, right? The fuel intake, combustion, and the output of it. But an engine in a small city car or an engine in a fast track race car or an engine in a road truck, they all have different versions, right? So the essential parts, marketing, sales, fulfillment, they are the same, but the outlook is different. And that's exactly what I do with my clients with the Freedom Engine, because it has all the essential parts, but everybody builds a business that feels aligned with them, that works for them and their audience. And so, what you do here is you don't start from the beginning, you start from the back. You start from the fulfillment area. And so, we have our one on one solution, our one on one support. This is settled now. You had at least 15 paying clients, you know exactly what you are selling, the language you're using, the problems that you come across. You have so much knowledge and so much information now, and now what we're going to do is to turn that into a scalable offer. Now, what I see go wrong a lot of times is that people take their whole support program, their one-on-one package, and trying to put that in a course. First of all, this is impossible. Second of all, you're going to have to charge like a big price for it. And that is quite hard to sell. One-on-one support is easier to sell than a 297 course that people need to follow themselves. And especially if you know that the completion rate of courses is very low because people are a bit overwhelmed with all of it for the moment. But the third thing is that I forgot what it is. What I wanted to focus on is when you have your one on one solution, you want to build a scalable offer. And I wanted to show you what a scalable offer looks like. So, scalable offer can be a course, a coaching program, digital offer, a toolkit, it can be anything. What we want to do is not replace the full one on one support, but we want to support them with the first step or the first and the second step, whatever that looks best for your audience. So, what you need to do for that is to create first a roadmap. So, on your paper, turn it around and just put dot A, dot B. And what I want you to do is to write down at point A, where are the parents when you start working with them? What are the problems? What are the issues? Is it sleepless nights? Are they struggling with night feeds? Bedtime battles with their toddler? Is it anxiety for school? Is it whatever it is for your specific business? Write that down at point A. You can pause this video. And then at point B, I want you to write down, where do they want to be? Do they want to sleep through the night? Do they want to have 2 naps a day? Do they want to have an enjoyable bedtime routine? Do the parents want to have time for themselves? Is there a grandmother that needs to be involved that doesn't work right now with the whole sleep setup? Write that down at point B and think at point B and think about your audience. And then, if you're now in phase one or phase two, you're going to realize that this is pretty hard to do, right? You're probably going to write down what everybody is writing down in phase one and two, but you have no clear knowledge and experience and language yet. This is why I say at least 15 clients before you start working on that, because you don't know what exactly the problems are. And it's not the general stuff that you hear everybody saying, it's those little nuanced details that I want you to write down at start point A and end point B. Now, I'm asking you, how do you get them? Because this is your one on one support from point A to point B. And so I want you to write down the steps, 4, 5, 6 steps that you do. You can do this when you pause the video to get them from point A to point B. And when you have all these steps, you're going to look at step one or step one and step two, and you turn that part into a scalable offer. So, for example, that could be setting up the sleep environment, dark room, temperature, all these kind of things. Or it can be, if you work with toddlers, focusing on sensory activities throughout the day, or whatever you're doing with your audience in those first steps. I want you to take those, and we're going to turn that into a scalable offer. Now, I don't want to go too deep now in the marketing and the sales section. I'm going to show you what it looks like, because it's different depending on what you've created. If you're going for a course, if you're going for... But what you want to do is build a tripwire funnel. So this is not a lead generation funnel. We're not just taking leads and put them in an email sequence. We actually want to sell them something. And not yet our scalable offer. We give them a freebie, then we give them a tripwire. This is a small version of your first or your second step to get them excited, to get them make a little payment, because people who make a little payment are willing to put a bigger payment down later as well. And then you build it up to your scalable offer. And then eventually you can also offer your one-on-one support. Keep doing that for the people who are interested in that. And you want to, of course, have a nurture sequence in place. And for Attract, you really want to focus on sales content, nurture content, growth content on your social media, your blogs, your long form, your short form content, everything. And so if you want to dive deeper into this, chapter 16 of the book is talking about all of this. But very short, once you have your scalable offer, you want to set these up, the sales and the marketing, and guiding people to your funnel during the marketing phase. So all your time, when you have your Freedom Engine, is put into marketing. The rest is running. The rest doesn't need your support that much anymore. And again, this looks different for everybody depending on your business, your vision, your audience. And so the final step is that you need to write down your KPIs. And this is not only in phase 3, in phase 1 and 2, you want to do the same. Your KPIs is, what are you going to measure? I said already, data is what we want to base our business on, not on emotions. So let's say, for example, for your Freedom Engine, you want to make $3,000 a month out of that. So you need to figure out how many scalable offers do you want to sell, and how many one-on-one clients do you still want to take on. And you can slowly start letting the scalable offer take over the one-on-one clients, but start being realistic. The first $3,000 a month with your Freedom Engine is mainly coming from one-on-one calls, and you slowly start replacing that. And then, so you want to have a clear monthly number, and then you need to think about, so how many clients is that going to be? For example, the $3,000 is coming from 20 clients. Okay, so then I want you to think about, for the sales section, this means what you're going to track here is your email open rates and your email click rates. You're going to be surprised. You're going to give out freebies. People can sign up for a freebie. They don't even open it and check it. Or they open the email and they don't click on the link. I've never understood that. If I opt in for a freebie or a lead magnet, I actually want that. So I'm clicking on the email and I'm clicking on the link. But you'll see that still a lot of people don't do that. So you want to find ways to increase this. And this is by changing your language, updating your page, and everything like that. And then for the attraction, you want to keep track of the new eyes, how many new people are coming into your world through your social media content, your website, blogs, personal connections, whatever it is. Because the more new eyes, the higher chance that you have new people opting in and going through your funnel. And then you want to see how many people of the new people who are entering your world, how many of them opting in. And you want to start increasing those numbers. Because once you can increase those numbers, your income is automatically also going to increase. And so if you look at it with all the conversion rates that I talked about previously in the video, is that if you want to have 20 clients, you need to have at least 1,000 people on your email list. And that's just 1 month. So you see, you cannot just start with this. You need to build this up. It's a whole journey. It's a whole process that you're going through. But now you know what you're working towards. So if you're putting in the work in the coming 90 days, you can be in phase 3, ready to build your Freedom Engine. So reach out to me, DM me, and we're going to work on that. Now, this is the part where most people stop. They feel inspired. They take a lot of notes. They're like, yes, I'm going to do this. And then life takes over and nothing happens. And I don't want you to be one of those people. Yes, it's going to be tough. I wanted to say rough because that's what it's also going to be. But you definitely can make this work if you stick to the foundation, if you stick to the steps that we talked about in this video. Now, you don't have to do this alone. There is a 506-page guide for you waiting to guide you step by step to setting up a profitable and thriving sleep consulting business. Or if you are already in the next phase, in phase 3, where you have at least 15 paying clients, send me a DM and I would love to talk about setting up a freedom engine for you and your business and your vision. And it's going to be so super exciting. So highly recommend. Get the book, get going, and then reach out to me once you're ready. Thank you so much for watching this workshop, this masterclass today with me, and have a wonderful day.